Thank you for joining us for today's News at Noon. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm China Green. We have breaking news to start with here. Multnomah County just announced it's pushing back the opening of the county's deflection center on Sandy Boulevard. It
was set to open on September 1st, the day when possession of hard drugs becomes illegal again in Oregon. But now it won't open until mid to late October. Just moments ago, County Chair Jessica Vega Peterson spoke about the delay.
We've ambitiously pushed forward this project to respond to the legislators' actions this spring and ensure people with addiction and substance use issues have alternatives to jail. But based on the latest timeline shared with me, we are not ready to open on September 1st.
County officials say pushing back the opening date gives the center time to meet critical staffing levels and reach training standards for registered nurses and other staff. The county was also facing the threat of a lawsuit from a preschool that's 450 feet away if they didn't delay the opening. KGW's Blair Best will have reaction to this decision in our later newscasts, starting with KGW News at 4. We also have continuing coverage this afternoon on a case of suspected animal abuse that we first reported on last week.
The man accused of abusing a dog in Northeast Portland earlier this month, a case that was caught on camera, will appear in Multnomah County Court later today. Ashley Grams gives us a look at how this could all play out in court by talking with an animal law attorney.
The man in this video, caught on security camera hitting a dog with a rope inside an elevator on Northeast Holiday Street, was arrested Saturday afternoon by Portland police. 25-year-old Isaac Booker Justum faces 3 felony counts of aggravated animal abuse in the first degree. Attorney Jordy Duckler specializes in animal law.
Pretty unique, yeah.
And says a video like this one, capturing several minutes of abuse, can be rare. But instead of just showing the abuse happened, Duckler says prosecutors will have to prove Justum's intent that day in the elevator in order to convict him of aggravated abuse.
Did that accused person, the fellow in the elevator, intend to inflict pain as opposed to intend to do something else? In a sense, it's all going to depend on what's in his head, not what's in his hand.
As for the dog, detectives haven't found it yet and say Justum won't tell them where the dog is. But Duckler doesn't believe that will impact the case.
His criminal prosecution goes forward full blast, I imagine.
As for what Justum's defense could be, Duckler shared one possibility.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the difference between right and wrong. I didn't know the difference between dog and elevator wall. I was just doing whatever it is I wanted to do because I was so impaired. In a way, that's a defense.
Ashley Grams, KGW News.
The search continues for a man who tried to abduct a child in Vancouver yesterday afternoon. It happened around 3:30 at Lisa Crest Park. Police released this video showing the suspect allegedly tried to grab an 11-year-old off camera here. The man, a white male in his 20s or 30s, left and took off in that dark SUV when a Good Samaritan intervened. Anyone with information is asked to reach out to Vancouver police. In the meantime, police say a man was shot and killed last night just after 10 o'clock in the Buckman neighborhood of Southeast Portland. That's where officers responded to a call about a person being shot, and that's where they found the man dead at Southeast 9th and Washington Street. So far, they haven't released or arrested anyone. Anyone with information about the shooting should call Portland police.
We saw lots of thunder and lightning storms around the area over the weekend. This is a look at some of that stormy weather as it rolled through Portland. Over a quarter inch of rain fell on the city. That's the most rain in Portland since early June. Closer to the Cascades, the storm brought quarter-sized hail. Lightning during Saturday's storm sparked 7 new fires in the Willamette National Forest. The U.S. Forest Service says crews spent yesterday dealing with those fires.
And there was plenty of severe weather in other parts of the country as well, including Hurricane Ernesto's destructive path on the East Coast. NBC's Juan Venegas is covering that for us this afternoon.
Oh, wow. A weekend of dangerous weather across the country. When gusts hitting northern Alabama on Saturday, people running for their lives as furniture and even a bouncy slide blew away.
And all of a sudden the wind just came out of nowhere, like sideways.
In Connecticut, torrential rain and flash flooding. And take a look at this, lightning striking the Seattle Space Needle. Nationwide, 46 million in the bullseye for more rain, wind, flooding, and possible tornadoes tonight. Throughout the South, more than 40 million under heat alerts from Arizona to Florida. This as reports of approximately 100 spectators getting sick at a Colorado Springs air show and temperatures over 90 degrees. And across the East Coast, beaches shutting down as Ernesto, now back as a Category 1 hurricane, triggers life-threatening rip currents across the Atlantic. 2 drownings in Hilton Head and nearly 30 ocean rescues off the coast of North Carolina.
Oh my God!
On the Outer Banks, where this house collapsed the other day, portions of that shoreline now shut down. Ernesto's hits in Puerto Rico and Bermuda now followed by a massive cleanup.
Most of the damage caused by Hurricane Ernesto affected the power infrastructure, like this crossarm which came off a utility pole but is now being repaired.
With flights taking off once again at the international airport as this tropical paradise slowly starts picking up the pieces. Guad Venegas, NBC News, Bermuda.
All right, let's talk about our own local weather picture here for a moment. Chris McGinnis, obviously busy over the weekend. It's going to be quieter this week, but still not feeling like August.
You know, I think if you stepped outside like Sunday morning, it had the smell of fall in the air, right?
No, sure.
After that weekend rain, we picked up about 4/10 at the airport, and more than that in some cases. The Dalles picked up 6/10 of an inch of rain, which is substantial, meaningful rainfall for the month of August. Now, that said, radar, I've got it fired up behind me right now. You actually see some green on the map here in portions of Clackamas and Multnomah County. I haven't seen any reports of this actually hitting the ground, but the point is that morning cloud deck that's been kind of streaming out overhead through most of the day so far this morning is thick and has not really been breaking up as much as we expected. The showers that you see offshore, I have no doubt that some of that stuff is reaching the sea surface here, and eventually modeling has suggested that the North Oregon and South Washington coast will get at least a little bit wet this afternoon, late this afternoon. Right now it's kind of cloudy as you look offshore from Cannon Beach. It's 70 degrees right now at the beach, south breeze at 5. Elsewhere across the region, the sun is out in the Dalles and the breeze is kicking up as well. 75 there, and the wind through the Dalles this afternoon will be gusty, westerly, 30 to 35, I think, for the remainder of the day. In Portland, we are looking at broken cloud cover at 71 last check at PDX, and the plan for the remainder of this afternoon is dry, but we're battling the cloud cover with temperatures inching into the upper 70s at 5 o'clock. Sunset still in the 8 o'clock hour, but not for many days longer. Guys, we'll look at that with our 7-day forecast, which feels a little fall-like, coming up in the next few minutes.
All right, thank you, Chris. Back to our local news headlines now. A pride celebration in Molalla was canceled over the weekend after threats were made on social media. Hendy Appleton has organized a pride event in Molalla for the past 3 years. This year's celebration was described as an inclusive community carnival and picnic at a local park, but when they announced that one of the entertainers was a drag queen, Appleton says people in the community became, in her words, uncomfortable.
When I announced the event on social media, people were upset and made it clear that they were upset. You're putting our children in danger. This doesn't belong in our community. And we're going to show up to disrupt the event.
Appleton says some people took those threats even further, threatening to bring guns to the event and protest. And when people outside Molalla and Clackamas County said they were going to show up and protest too, they decided to cancel the event. There's no word if it'll be rescheduled.
Tomorrow, Beaverton School District will resume contract negotiations with the teachers union. The two sides have been bargaining since mid-February, but remain far apart on key issues like salary. Our Thomas Schultz will have a recap of negotiations thus far and hear from the union president tomorrow on Sunrise.
Fred Meyer workers are continuing contract negotiations with Kroger management today. 2 days ago, union workers authorized an unfair labor practice strike and pulled their support for the Kroger-Albertsons merger. The president of the workers union says there are several reasons behind the move to strike, including management's failure to live up to commitments in their current contract. A date for the strike hasn't been set yet. Also, several states, including Oregon and Washington, are still in the middle of a lawsuit to try and stop the grocery chain merger from happening. It's been 1 year since Tokate, the orca held in captivity for more than 50 years at the Miami Seaquarium, passed away. The Lummi Nation in Washington paid tribute to her legacy over the weekend with a ceremony called a Gathering of Hearts. During that ceremony, a salmon was prepared and offered to the ocean.
Tokate was captured from the Puget Sound in the 1970s after a fight by the Lummi Nation to return her to the Northwest. A plan for a 7,000 square mile Salish Sea whale sanctuary was created to allow her to live out the rest of her days here or over there in Western Washington, but she never got the chance to see freedom. Tokate died last year suffering from chronic kidney disease and pneumonia. She was about 57 years old. Her ashes were scattered in a private ceremony by members of the Lummi Nation.